What's up, guys, gals? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Akatsuki no Yona, Chapter 202, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Yona of the Dawn. Let's get underway with Chapter 202, because this was a pretty good chapter. I had very little complaints. But what I want to talk about at the very beginning of this chapter, I'm going to take the first couple of minutes, so if you guys want to skip ahead, I don't know how to do time codes or anything anymore. YouTube changes that shit it's like iPhones. Every 6 months, something gets updated and screws us all up. So, but I'm only going to take about the next 4 to 5 minutes, I hope. It's going to be as short as I can, to address something that a lot of us have I've seen a lot of controversy over, especially even on my own videos. I've seen about Hak's disregard for his own life. Because this chapter, right here, the opening part, seems to contradict. Is he lying to the princess? Is he putting on bravado? That doesn't seem like Hak. Hak is straight-faced, always honest, boom. He never... That's not a game he plays. So, we have to ask ourselves, is he being a hypocrite? Is he contradicting himself? Because one of the big things people complained about, especially in the last chapter, it was brought to the forefront that Hak has a very disregard for life, disregard for his own life. He gambles it at a drop of a hat, and this is not a good attitude for Hak to have. One person I even brought up that he might be a closet sort of suicidal tendencies of some description, which I think people are taking it way too far on a surface level. And what I wanted to talk about here today was, you can call Hak a martyr. He is certainly a martyr, and will, with no hesitation, similar to like a veteran of war in some ways, they will put their life on the line without hesitation. Hit that button, hand on the Bible or whatever you believe in, no problem, without a split second of even thinking about it, when it comes to something they truly love, something they truly believe in. This is what Hak was doing in Chapter 201. He was talking when people said, the key soak stuff, and this is what brought up the controversy, is he was basically like, yeah, I'm going to gamble the chances that this dude is not going to kill me, when he was getting captured. He's going to beat me up, but he's not going to kill me. And then again, he told Key Soak, like, regardless what happens to me, don't worry about it and stuff. And people sort of took this, in my opinion, people took this a bit the wrong way. Not that he wasn't going to put up a struggle, not that he wasn't going to put up a fight, but when it comes to the lives of the dragons, Yon and Yona, he will always, if he thinks that him giving up his life or betting his life, gambling on his life, will give them even that much better a chance at whatever their goal is, whatever the victory, he will not hesitate to do that. It's no different than him jumping into battle and jumping in the way of a killing sword swing towards Yona. It's no different. That was all he was doing. And a lot of people took it as, oh, Kiso, please, give me a knife. How do you want me to kill myself? Because trust me, I'll do it right now. Just promise me a couple of pretty words. Promise me. Don't worry. No, seriously, give me the knife. People were acting as though that was Hak's complete disregard. Hak is a martyr, not a suicider. Okay? He's not that stupid. And the reason I brought this up, and that's sort of the end, so let's get into the chapter. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because there was controversy on my video, on some Reddit forums. I saw it on some other discussions. Because in this chapter, the opening bit is the end of the last chapter with Hak and Yona at the gates and all that stuff, or at the jail wall, and they're doing their thing, and Hak is back to his usual cocky, super self. This, as I said before, might seem like a hypocrite, but it's not. He's not being a hypocrite here, because he goes, don't worry, I'm fit as a fiddle, don't worry about it, I'll win. Here's the thing, it's a really nice scene, it's a nice scene between Yona and Hak, and I don't mind Yona or anybody else in this particular scene. It's just that Hak seems to be all of a sudden confirming with the princess, don't worry about it, I'll win, because she tries to warn him about Key Soak and I'll try to get you released. That man, the bodyguard soo-won, is extremely dangerous. He will kill you without hesitation. You gotta watch out. And he has to, princess, don't worry. I'll win. I'll be fine. He's not lying to Yona. he was just betting it on, and some people can argue about getting information, which was really stupid, but that's sort of a different topic. I'm just trying to say that when it comes to his friends' lives, then Hak will lay down his life, no question. That makes him a martyr, doesn't make him a risk taker in that. Do you know what I mean? I don't really know the right words I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that some people were taking it too one-dimensional, and I think it's a little deeper than that. That's all. Because this scene was actually really nice. And he says, don't worry, look at me. Yeah, I got beat up, but I'm fine. I'm the Thunder Beast. I'm amazing. And what else is funny is that Yona, of course, says, I don't want to stay away from you. I want to, if anything else, I want to be closer than this cage is allowing us. And Hak is just like, okay, you shouldn't say things like that. And why? Well, you know why you shouldn't say things like that, princesses, because that just makes me want to rip down this cage with my bare hands, which, let's be honest here, he can do. And he's like, and I'm going to take you in my arms, and we're going to just run away and try to stop me. And Minso's like, no, please don't do that, Hak. Let's just bandage you up, for God's sakes. He literally, he even says, like, you shouldn't say things like that because I'm trying to be good. But if you keep saying things like that, I'm just gonna break out of here, and that just wouldn't be good. That would cause too much of a stir. I would have to fight this bodyguard dude seriously because he is an amazing fighter. I don't want to deal with any of that. That seems like work, So that's basically Hak's attitude. I love it. It was a fun scene. And after this is where we really get the big Yona stuff. This is the thing that a lot of people probably want to talk about. People want to talk about the big drop that soo-won's bodyguard, yu-hon's original bodyguard, the bodyguard. I don't like saying this. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, so I like calling him the bodyguard because at least I know that that's facts. Yona basically goes, so, got a question for you, bud. Here's the deal. You killed my mother. It was you, wasn't it? You disguised yourself as a bandit. You went along on Uncle yu-hon's orders. You killed my mother. Do you even remember my mother? You killed her. And covered it up, made it look like an accident, blah, blah, and that's why you had killing intent with me, because yu-hon also ordered my death. I was supposed to be in the carriage, right? And we all know that, because I brought that up, how that future sight thing, that vision thing, isn't exactly, it's, the way they say it and the way it goes down is sort of misleading, because if Kashi cannot see her own fate, how would she know where it's entwined? When her fate becomes entwined with someone else's, technically she saw her own fate. Because she must have known that she was going towards her own death, or bringing Yona on there would put her life in danger. You know what I mean? That future sight thing, she can't see any part of her own future. You could deduce. Even if you can't see your own future, you'd be able to deduce. I already brought that up. So that is why, at the very beginning, chapter 1, that's why, and she still remembers those eyes, you had such killing intent when you first looked at me again, because you killed my mother and you were supposed to kill me. Sort of idea. That's basically what I don't think she exactly says that. She implies that, if not blatantly says that. Now I'm thinking, wow, whoa. I didn't even think of that. Because that flashback was handled, that's the most piss poor flashback I have ever seen in manga. Let's just call it a spade here. Still like Yona, guys, but that was terribly paced, terribly written, terribly everything, because everybody's still questioning it. What's true, what's not. In this case, Yona has deduced that the bodyguard is the one who did all this. And he doesn't say anything. Man of few words. Now, at first I'm thinking, whoa, okay, this is heavy. This is going to be a big plot thing. This is going to carry on into something. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden she goes, all right, you don't need to say anything. And this is the last time I'm going to bring my mother up. I'm like, okay, where you going with this, Yona dear? Where are you going with this? As jae-ha would say, Yona dear, where are you going with this? And she's just like, don't kill Hak. Now, I actually don't have a problem with Yona doing this necessarily, because from her standpoint right here, you'd think I'd be mad about this, because once again, Hak even said, don't worry, I'll win. If I tried, I'm not going to die, because, literally, it would make me sad if you die. All right, I won't die. Literally, that's basically what Hak's attitude is, and I believe him. But the thing is here is that she's basically saying, don't go after Hak, don't kill Hak, because there's been enough hatred going around, and she's trying to think about all the hatred she's seen. Like Hak right now knowing about the illness with soo-won, how does he currently feel about it, especially when he was on the point of tears crying out that he would never ever forgive soo-won. Ki-sok also can't forgive what happened to yu-hon, and so these two people, she's contrasting them and sees that they're both stuck, and now she's sort of lumping in Hyori, the bodyguard, in with this entire in this group of people that can't move on, people that can't move forward, and Yona is attempting to move forward. I don't necessarily like, once again, the whole don't kill Hak and stuff, but because once again, dude, Hak's best. Hak can't be killed. You said it yourself. Believe your words or don't you? But that is overshadowed by her good character in this scene, because she's one of the only ones. She paints a very nice picture to say most of the main characters on both sides of this are stuck in their ways. They can't move on. They can't move forward. They can't move back. They're stuck in the past. They're stuck in events that happened that they hate and they can't fix. They can't control. And so Yona is showing the only progressive character in this scene, in this way, and painting a really nice picture of that and saying, I'm just sick and tired of all the hatred. Can we just stop? So don't kill Hak. Don't do that. Because I believe Yona when she said, you're going to make the four dragons and me your enemy, and we're going to burn this castle to the ground overnight. So don't do that. Right? And that would, Yona knows that if someone were to kill Hak, she would then become like them and be stuck. So this scene, though, once again, I always hate the whole don't kill Hak, she's so worried about Hak sort of idea. Worry's one thing, thinking someone can kill him is another. But I don't like that aspect, but it's so overshadowed by how great this scene is. What to take away from this is not the fact that, oh my god, the bodyguard's the one who killed it. Like, how did she reach this conclusion? She read the diary. She made a big leap of faith, or a good hypothesis, good assumption. Seems to have paid off where he hasn't denied anything and didn't really give us an indication. So I'm going to take this as fact. This is what happened, what Yona has deduced. But what's even greater than that, because she says, the last time I'm bringing up my mother. So she's not out there for hatred. She's not out there for revenge. She already doesn't like this guy, but she's done with the cycle of hatred. So I know I keep harping on this, guys. Hatred, hatred, hatred. But this is a great scene. This is probably the best scene of the chapter, and one of the best scenes we've gotten in a while, especially with Yona, because even the contrived scene where she basically puts the political figures in their place soon gets overshadowed the next chapter with the death and all that stuff. It's like, oh man, she had one cool moment after being at her lowest as a character, in my opinion, once again, and now being brought up just to be brought down, and now we're playing the seesaw with Yona's character. I don't like it, but here it's a genuine great scene, and it definitely overshadows even the political stuff, because you can even poke holes in that. How would she know all this stuff? Reading for 3 days wouldn't make you a political expert, blah, 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 all that stuff. So, and I've heard that argument, and it makes sense. But here, she's made a leap of faith. It's paid off. I think it's true. And she's showing the progress. So I love that scene. I think it's fantastic. But I want to know what you guys think. Both about my idea that Hak doesn't necessarily have disregard for his own life. He's just a martyr with it. He believes in something is worth more than his own life in that regard. And you can make the argument that, of course, Yona feels the exact same way about Hak. And would be totally fine if Yona wants to put her life on the line for Hak. Remember, these guys have been through 200 chapters of nothing but fighting on the streets, being in battles, on pirate raids, in wars. There's always a chance they're going to be killed, but they're doing it to help each other, to protect each other, to fight for something they believe in. That is the equivalent of putting your life on the line. So I never saw a problem with that. And also, once again, what did you take away from that big scene? A lot of people, I feel, are going to take away the whole bodyguard killed the mother thing. I'm taking away the great show of character in Yona, in our main heroine, in our main character. We're seeing the main cast in a new light. And I think we really needed this because I never had this perspective before, and it's great. Now there's another scene here that I sort of wanted to talk about. It's very short. It's only 2 pages, I believe. One of Hak. This yin-yang thing in this chapter is really nice because we got the yin-yang sort of idea between Ki-sok and Hak in one panel, and now we're sort of getting this as a page way, is that Hak is sitting in the jail cell being mended by Min-so and all that stuff after the conversation. Of course, this is right after the scene we got with Hyo-ri and Yona. And then we get, and once again, just want to say really quickly, good on Yona for now that she's sort of gotten over this fear, another point to her progression. Now she's sort of gotten over this fear of this guy and can stare him down as well and be like, look, this is what I want. And able to talk to him and doesn't get exactly too intimidated, that's a good thing. Because that's showing more progress too. But to go back to the point, there's a small scene before the last scene of the chapter, the last major part of the chapter, which is we see Hak, as I said, being tended in the jail cell, and he wants to ask Min-so about the illness, soo-won's illness. And Min-so, is that guy's illness really, you know what? Never mind. And he's just thinking to himself. Very Hak, we know how conflicted he must feel. He's been wishing for soo-won's death, but remember, this has also been his best friend his whole life. It's got to be difficult. It has to be. Once again, not to get too personal, ladies and gentlemen, but I had a best friend, not my oldest or longest running, but a best friend I knew since high school, even junior high even. And we are no longer friends. We were friends for a decade plus, easy, if not more, decade and a half. And I would consider us the best friends on both sides of that. And the thing is that we had a rather falling out. It was a slow build, but in the end, we had a falling out, and we haven't spoken since. And I don't think we'll ever really repair that bridge. It's a little different between soo-won and Hak, of course, the betrayal necessarily. So it's a lot minor. It's a minor versus a major sort of idea, comparison, analogy here. But in the same way that Hak feels, even though I don't like to really think too much on that former friend, I would never wish to hear that he got cancer, or that he had some painful disease, something chronic that was slowly causing him pain, going to kill him. I don't wish him miserable. I don't wish him tortured. I don't wish death upon him, right? So it's something that I can definitely relate to, that even through all the anger and all the bitterness and all the regret, the betrayal, all that, he doesn't wish that on soo-won as much as he might have boasted and claimed at the beginning. And now it's been quite a number of months and stuff like that. It must have been a year by now. Things have probably been put into perspective a little more for Hak, and he knows about his anger issues, and we've seen those inner monologues with Hak. So this is a really nice scene to get, because we've known this for a while, that how is Hak going to react to the illness, and we are seeing a genuine reaction that I think is definitely very accurate. Because as I said, from my own personal life, I don't wish that the Crimson Dragon's illness upon my former friend. That's just not something I would wish upon him necessarily. I don't go to bed all bitter, for that. So in that way, it's very realistic, and I like that because it's definitely showing the depth of Hawk's character. And on the flip side, when I was talking about the yin yang thing, then we get a scene. It's the only time we see soo-won this chapter. Is that Ki-sok informs that the Thunder Beast has been imprisoned, and here are to the reasons why. And we see soo-won sitting there contemplating something. Now, this is where I assumed. I liked the last part of the chapter, but I assumed the end of the chapter we were going to see, the last page, was going to be soo-won in a cloak, sort of like how he would go around sneaking around unbeknownst to anybody. We'd see him in a cloak, go down in the middle of the night, wake up Hawk, sit down, and they were going to have a talk. You know, it was going to be like, doom, doom, end of scene. And the first time they were ever going to have a real conversation since it happened. Even if you want to talk, you know, the conversation through the wall and stuff like that. Yeah. But a real honest, you're me, I'm you. We both know what we've done. Let's talk. I really hope that's going to happen. I still think it will happen. Maybe next chapter even. Maybe they're building to that. Because I think that's what soo-won is doing. Because in the next scene it says that soo-won will come later. I think soo-won went to the jail, went to the dungeon to talk to Hawk. That's why he's late. He gave the excuse, or he's like, he's still not feeling well, and Ki-sok was trying to play the four dragons as priest in the next scene to sort of bring about, you know, sort of make that a distraction right now. Yona's a good substitute. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. As long as the king does eventually make an appearance, it won't seem rude. You know, he's trying to work with that, so he's not too focused if maybe soo-won lied to him and snuck off to the jail. So I'm hoping that's what happened. What did you guys think? But I really like that parallel because it seems we have soo-won looking down, we have Hawk looking down, and they're both thinking the same thing. Now that Ki-sok has been informed that Hawk knows everything. This is going to be a big thing. I can't wait to see that. Now, the other thing is, of course, the end scene. I already said some about it. They need priests, of course. The funeral is more like a festival, more like a celebration of life, if you will. That's the way the Southern Kai, that's the way the Kai Kingdom seems to celebrate. They have the funeral, they have the respects, prayers and stuff, but they also do a banquet, do a festival, and celebrate life. Some people find that disrespectful. Some people are into that stuff. Some people do both. You have your funeral where everybody's in black and cries. Then you have sort of an after party where people have a few too many drinks and cheers and here's to their good life. And, you know, I remember that time he was an asshole. That, right? And you tell funny stories, you tell crude stories, and then you have a little mixture of both the celebration of life and a respectful funeral. It doesn't, whatever way you want to celebrate is fine, but this is the way the Kai country does it. And so they're doing this whole thing, but they need a substitute for priests because the priesthood has been destroyed. So Ki-sok managed to convince the dragons to substitute for priests because they have a divine presence, a divine grace about them that people won't really care. And of course, it's the four dragons of legend. Even the Kai Kingdom has heard of them. And so that's truly going to be a great substitute. No one is probably going to notice that they don't have a couple of priests, you know, walking around. So good thing on Ki-sok's part, but it's also interesting that he allowed that so freely because he's did he really listen to Hawk's request necessarily? Because this is the first time, as Kija brings up when he sees Yona, and we'll get to how that goes down. It's like, we've been wanting to see you, blah, 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 and all the dragons and Yona are all together again. So isn't that really nice? We're starting to see some pick-me-up. We're starting to see this back where I was, because I think a lot of us have been a little about Hawk being separated from the dragons being separated from Yona, and Yona being separated from Hawk. This is not, you know, and throw Yona in there too. He's just jumping around as well. We want the happy, hungry bunch back together, right? So, this is a really nice scene actually because it's quite interesting. So Yona is of course there. She's doing her thing, and she knows that everyone still thinks this is basically a show. This is basically a political thing. People still are under the impression that Yona killed once again. I think it was North Kai. But then we run into a relative, Mei Nien. Mei Nien. And Mei Nien is Nien. Geez, I keep, you know, English words, right? I'm trying to say other words. So Nien, which is, I believe that, isn't that like cat or something like that? Anyways, or meow meow, like Nien Nien. Anyways. So Mei Nien is apparently she seems to be this old clumsy girl, like, oh, I'm a relative of Lantan's, blah, blah, blah. She's one of those, I forget what this trope is called. Honestly, never really cared for it. I really hate I don't mind the assertive, I'm an evil bitch type of trope necessarily. It works for villainous characters. It can work in certain ways. Definitely not really for main characters, in my opinion. But this type of character where she plays oh, I'm just aloof, I'm just a girl, and then goes to, and now I'm going to manipulate you, and I'm going to make you, burn down a whole village just to please me and kiss my shoes while you're at it. That superiority thing that comes off, oh, no, I don't care for this, but this is good because we're meant to hate her. Well done. Already dislike this character. Love it. So, she goes to basically say, prostrate yourself. Poisoning, how rude, that sort of idea. You must prostrate yourself, bend down to Yona. And Yona's just like, I don't sense any affection for Lantan from you. You are no relative. Who are you truly? Are you really? And it's like, she is a lady of the court, but who is she? We haven't really found that out yet, other than she is Mei Nian. The name seems to be correct. And when she goes to strike, and Jodo is like, Yona, Princess Yona, because Jodo, once again, very conflicted. I like Jodo's as a character. He's in the background a lot, but he's definitely a conflicted, good character. I really like him in here. He doesn't hesitate. He's like, whoa, Princess Yona. And he's going forward, and, the woman's going to be, how presumptuous, haven't you learned better manners or whatever, she says, going to strike down Yona, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to end well. If that hand connects, stuff's going to go down, because I'm like, somebody's going to be watching. Or if somebody sees the hit later on, something's going to go down. No such worries, because jae-ha, no. Let me take that from you. So, I can't allow you to drop that hand. No. Sorry about that mess. And then he just like claw right out, protecting Yona. That thing is huge, and just, it's such a great scene that all the dragons come by one at a time. Jae-ha, I can't let you do that. We might have to hurt you. And, he's doing it in his very nice, gentlemanly way. Kija just like, no. So by raising that hand, you can slap her, but you'll be torn to shreds. So I guess by striking Yona, you're ready for me to, tear you limb from limb, right? Right? And I was just like, yeah. And then Shin-ah shows up. Step away from Yona. Step away from the princess. Zeno's like, sorry to interrupt, little missus, but we can't let that happen. And I was like, yes, Zeno's in the crowd. Zeno, love it. So this was a lot of fun here. The dragons are back. We have a nice scene with Yona and them talking. I'll probably miss something here, but the main thing to take away is that the lady, the crazy new antagonist we got here, Nian, she says, the 4 dragons, and who you're their ruler sort of idea, and who rules you, who is the ruler of the 4 dragons. These are the 4 dragons of myth. Everybody's shocked to see the 4 dragons. Of course, jae-ha was flying. Kija's in action, so everyone's like, all mystified, and she's like, the 4 dragons of legend, who, so their ruler is, and Kija's like, Yona, of course, and Kija, stop saying that I'm the king, stop saying it, because she's always hated that, it's like, no, we're friends, I don't own you, sort of idea, but Kija's all good with, yep, I do what she says, I'm a servant, it's fine, and then she's like, and what about the Thunder Beast of Koka Kingdom? So she's an informed person. And that's when jae-ha says, the Thunder Beast. Well, he's not actually one of the 4 dragons. So maybe through the Kai rumors, it seems like she was under the impression, it's implied that she was under the impression that one of the 4 dragons was the Thunder Beast. But as jae-ha clarifies, no, the Thunder Beast is someone separate from the 4 dragons, which I sort of expected, Zeno, someone to pipe, or Shin-ah should have said, but he's the Darkness Dragon, or someone to mention that he's the 5th, he's the Darkness Dragon, because that's always Hawk lines, there's 5 dragons, I didn't know. Yes, there is. No, there's not. Yeah, there is. I'm the 5th one. Hi, I'm the Darkness Dragon. Because they always like that. Or even to see a little panel of Hawk, in the jail going, darkness dragon, yeah. You know, or something like that. That would have been cool. I'm sort of missing that part, but I know it's supposed to be more of a serious theme, but I would have liked that little, panel. What do you guys think? Maybe that wouldn't have fit the tone of the scene, but then she then asks, well, who's in charge of the Thunder Beast? And all the dragons just look at Yona, and Yona's like, blink, 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 blink. And she's like, so the 4 dragons and the Thunder Beast. And she just goes up to her and goes, but you're not the king. Don't you think you have a little too much power? Don't you think you have a little too much, you greedy girl sort of idea? Probably missed something important there. But that's essentially the chapter. That's essentially the scene. Now, this is good. This is setting up some good shit. Like, look at the setup we got. Once again, we got confirmation that Hak is not suicidal or whatever people were borderline trying to say that he was. He's just a martyr when it comes to protecting his friends, and that's a friend I want to have. That sort of idea. A very selfless, loyal warrior. That's what he is. He's a warrior. So we settled that, I believe. Yona's character seems to be back in full form, and even better because she not only didn't do it in a bad way. She didn't put down anybody, but she basically went, I'm trying to break the cycle that everybody's stuck in. And that's huge progression for her. Amazing. Especially where she went really downhill, in my opinion, post last arc into this arc. And there was a lot of issues with her character. This one scene, to me, as long as they don't ruin it like they did last time within a couple chapters, I think this is starting to really bring her back to form. I've said that a couple of times, and I've been wrong. But this scene alone, really good, really good. And then, of course, we got the great setup that I still believe that we're going to get the Hak soo-won talk. Finally, it's going to be behind the jail cell. It's just going to be the two of them. It won't be interrupted. It'll be a full talk. That'll be fantastic. I hope you guys we're all pumped for that. There's not a Yona fan out there that doesn't want to see soo-won and Hak sit down and have a goddamn talk. Have a goddamn conversation. For the love of the 4 dragons, we need it. So, yeah, we really need that, and I think it's set up beautifully here. A very yin-yang panel thing I already explained. And then the last scene. The last scene is setting up a new antagonist along with, another addition to the antagonist that is the Kai Kingdom. And where that's going to go and what's going to be about. We're going to war, apparently, and blah, blah, blah. And Hak's going to be on the front lines. That implies separated from Yona once again. Long distance relationships. I know all about it. So this is going to be incredibly interesting. I think this was a great setup chapter for a multitude of reasons. Lots of reasons. The 4 dragons are back. With Yona, this is fantastic. I'm curious to see what they're going to say where she's like, you have a little too much power to not be the king. And it's like, well, she does, but technically she should be the queen. So, I mean, there is that. But either way, what did you guys think of the chapter? I don't want this to be a 45-minute, 50-minute long review. So I'll just leave it at that. There was quite a bit to talk about. I didn't think this review would go that long, but it just seems like there was enough to talk about, you know what I mean? So, like, comment, and subscribe as always, guys. It's always very much appreciated. Hope you guys enjoyed. Drink responsibly as always, and I hope to see you guys again for chapter 203 of Yona and the Dawn, because I think if this was set up, then what the next chapter is going to bring should be just as good. It's going to be great, right? So 203's got me pumped. Hope it's got you guys excited. And what did you think of all my points? What are your points? Let me know down in the comment section down below. As always, we'll see you back here next time. This has been Griever, signing out. Bye-bye.